Yes, so that's me. Back in 2009, I co-founded Property Tribes, along with my lovely husband Nick, who's at the back of the room there filming for our YouTube channel. We wanted to create a community where people could share information, learn from each other's experience, get problems solved, etc. And now, well, 14 years later, we've got over 70,000 members of Property Tribes, and it's one of the busiest and most engaged landlord communities in the UK. My own property journey actually started in 1992, where I became what's known as the dreaded accidental landlord, where I had a flat in London with a defective lease, couldn't sell it, so I rented it out, and I became a landlord by default. But I actually started growing my portfolio properly in 2004, got to about 18 odd properties, and then I thought, right, I've got a really good, solid, single occupancy buy-to-let portfolio. I want to diversify, and that's when I moved into holiday lets in 2008. So we're going to be talking about one of my favourite topics, definitely holiday lets. I'm a very big advocate of them, and I think they've really come into their own in the last couple of years. So why holiday lets? That's okay. So over the last, I would say, at least 10 years, there's been what I call the renaissance in the Great British Seaside Holiday. And this was really born out of things like Coast magazine, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, the actual programme Coast. Yeah, just go on to that one slide, thank you. And in recent times, since 2004, obviously since the advent of Section 24, holiday lets have really been highlighted to have a much more favourable tax regime than single occupancy buy-to-let. They're obviously not subject to the dreaded Section 24. We've had the COVID-19 pandemic, of course, which has meant that people have not been able to travel abroad, and this again has regenerated all the interest in coastal and lots of different holidays around the UK, many different types of holidays that people can take in our wonderful country. So people really wanting to holiday at home again, getting excited again about our own country. And we've also seen a lot of regeneration of seaside resorts, a lot of money going into these areas. Also, the other thing that's driven holiday lets is eco-awareness, people not wanting to fly, mindful of their impact on the environment and so on. And also something that I call coastal appreciation. And this is where coastal property tends to be very robust in house price terms. When there is a recession or a market correction, it doesn't tend to drop significantly. It tends to stay the same, and then gradually rise back up again. And I think one of the reasons for that is that a lot of people like to retire to the coast, so they sell their family home and then they downsize and they buy a property for cash. And if there is an impact in the market or economic recession, people that have bought for cash aren't really affected by it, so that's why prices remain robust. And of course the other thing is that nobody is making any more coast. If anything, there's going to be less of it because of coastal erosion. So, that's one thing to be mindful of when you're looking for a holiday let as well. If there has been flooding or coastal erosion in the area, if you're looking for a coastal holiday let. The other thing that's really fueling it is also the working from home trend. We've seen people moving to the coast because they can work from home and they like the lifestyle and health benefits of living by the coast. A friend of mine works in a big corporation in London, and they were talking to their staff about coming back into the office, and 2 members of staff said, sorry, we've moved to Cornwall, so they won't be going back into the office in the City of London. So lots of reasons why holiday lets are becoming more popular. Now, I'm not a mortgage broker, so I'm only going to talk in very general terms, but financing a holiday let, there are specialist holiday let lenders. I'm pleased to say that there's more and more of them coming through to meet the demand for holiday lets. You do need this special holiday let mortgage. You can't use a buy-to-let mortgage or a residential mortgage. Some of the names you may or may not be familiar with are Hodge, the Leeds Building Society, Mansfield, Dudley, Principality. Paragon have just re-entered the market a couple of months ago. They do tend to have a lower loan-to-value than buy-to-let mortgages, so somewhere around 60–65% loan-to-value. And interestingly, they can be based partially on your income as well as the predicted income of the actual property. And I do also believe that there's a product out there where it's kind of a half a residential mortgage, half a holiday let mortgage, so you can use the property yourself should you want to as well. So that's just a general overview. I can't speak in any more detail because I'm obviously not a mortgage broker, but there are products out there and they are increasing, and that's the good news. It's becoming a lot more competitive. So what do holidaymakers want? Well, the short answer is that they want the equivalent or better than their own home. So many, many years ago, my dear parents, who are now in their 80s, they went to a holiday let in Woolacombe, and the mattresses were all lumpy. There was very sad curtains hanging at the windows that hadn't been changed for 20 years. There was a hole in the bathroom wall going through to the outside. That ain't going to cut it in today's marketplace. It really is now in the realm of providing something to the standard of a boutique hotel. That is what the market expects. So these are a few pointers that I've come to realise are really, really important when you're thinking about buying a holiday let. First of all, it must have easy access and parking. People are going to arrive on a Friday night, it might be dark, it might be raining. They do not want to have to park on a road, cross the road, walk up some steps to the front door. No, they want really, really easy access and parking. Very, very important. They obviously want TV and internet streaming services. You must have internet. In my case, I'm a big fan of coastal holiday lets, and obviously having a safe beach nearby attracts families with children. You must have very high standards of cleanliness and maintenance. Your holiday let has to look like nobody has ever stayed there before. No evidence of another person ever having been in there. So it's very, very important that you have these very high standards. You have to have a full set of kitchen equipment. A lot of people like to do their self-catering and you know, cook their own meals and have family occasions at holiday lets. You need super fast Wi-Fi, of course. Without it, your bookings are really going to struggle. It's very important to be close to fine dining. People like to go out and have meals when they're on holiday, and I think I would add to that now that takeaways are very, very important as well. So you want somewhere where there's access to fine dining and also really high quality takeaways are in the area. And very importantly, you want somewhere with a programme of year-round activities and attractions, because with holiday lets, you should get you know, half-term, bank holiday, summer holidays, Christmas and New Year. You should get those without really breaking into a sweat. But the real extra cash flow comes when you get bookings in what I call the shoulder months or the low season periods. And if you have somewhere that has year-round attractions, then you're going to get footfall throughout the year. People are coming to the area, they're going to want accommodation year-round. Pet-friendly, very, very important. I've got 3 Bengal tiger cats. I will not go anywhere without them. And they came on holiday with us at Christmas. We booked a holiday let in Scotland, and obviously people don't want to put their pets in kennels, it's expensive, and they're part of the family. So very, very important to have pet-friendly accommodation. 24-hour check-in, very important as well. People like to arrive in their own time. Some people actually don't want to interact with you know, hosts or whatever, particularly during COVID for obvious reasons. So, you know, you want to think about having key safe or digital access. And most important, what you promised in your advertising, you must provide that. If you don't, then you're going to get bad reviews, and that's going to affect your future bookings. So make sure that everything you say is in your advert and your marketing is actually at the property or in the area. So I'm going to dive in a little bit to what I've learned from running one of my holiday lets, my very first holiday let. And this is Sea Breeze, which is located at Camber Sands Beach in East Sussex. It's this little blue house here. I call it my pocket house. It's the most perfectly formed little house. And it's in a very nice award-winning development of houses that are all cladded with weatherboarding. It's actually concrete weatherboarding, so it's actually zero maintenance. But it's a really lovely development. When you drive in, you actually feel your shoulders, you know, slacken down, and you feel like you're really on holiday. And the houses are all different colours, and you'll notice that mine's a blue one. And we had the choice of actually a white cottage or a blue one, and I actually went for the blue one, and it was £5,000 more. And my husband Nick was a little bit surprised at wanting to pay more for a blue house, but I said, I know it will pay off, and it does, and I'll explain why in a bit. So what attracted us to Camber Sands? Proximity and great transport links to London, and that's my very important tip again. You need to look for a holiday let that is within 1.5 hours of a major population density. Because people, when they leave work on a Friday evening, if they're going to go for a long weekend booking, they want to be at that holiday cottage, sitting on the decking, drinking a glass of wine within 1.5 hours of leaving their office. If it's any longer than that, you know, that they're not going to want to make that journey. So the absolute cut-off is 1.5 hour transport or journey to the holiday cottage from a major population density. In Camber's case, it's close to one of the top beaches, or often voted as one of the top beaches in the world. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's down on the East Sussex coast, but it's 7 miles of golden sand and shallow water, beautiful sand dunes. It's unspoiled and protected countryside. There are 44 golf courses within a 30-mile radius, so you get all the golfers coming down. It's a magnet for water sports enthusiasts. There's loads of activities for families. It's the 1066 area, Battle of Hastings, lots of attractions there. Lots of attractive dining options nearby. Surprisingly relatively cheap house prices for the southeast. It's got coastal appreciation, which I mentioned earlier, and obviously the higher occupancy you can achieve, the better your cash flow. And bottom line is, we love it there, and I strongly recommend that if you are going to invest in holiday lets, it's got to be an area that you love yourself, because part of what you want to do is transmit your enthusiasm and love for the area to your guests. So if you don't love it, don't buy there, because you won't be able to do that. So, yes, just crack on, that's fine, thank you. Go on to the next one, yeah. That's gone backwards. Yeah. Sorry about this. So those were all the reasons that we went to Camber, and in fact we actually did a little try before you buy. We actually rented one of the cottages on the site for the weekend, and we went out and explored the area because we didn't know it previously, and we absolutely loved it. It's just 5 minutes to the beautiful town of Rye, and that's a real tourist honey pot as well. So you want to do the same as you do with buy-to-let investments, and before you buy, you want to find the demand and then create the supply. You don't want to create the supply and hope there's a demand. That is the wrong way round. So you need to find the demand and create the supply. And in the case of Camber, we saw that there were niche markets that we could market to. There's all the water sports enthusiasts. And the thing is, they go down there year round. They're down there in October and November as well. So there's always people in the area. And that means that you can market to niche areas as well. So you're going to be able to use websites, magazines, social networks, clubs from these different kind of activities that are using the area. And that's another marketing avenue for you. And also, as I mentioned, Canberra has 20 golf courses within 30-mile radius. It's got the famous Rye Golf Club there, attracts a lot of golfers to the area, and that means that, again, that you can use niche marketing avenues to drive traffic to your holiday let. So you've got the whole golf community. And it's really interesting because we called our forum Property Tribes, and that's because people hang out in tribes. So you've got your golfing tribes, you've got your motorhoming tribes, you've got your pet lovers tribes, you've got your water sports tribes. So lots of different tribes. Understand who the tribe you're going to market to is, and then you can tap into them via these different avenues. So who are our market for our holiday let at Canberra Sands? Well, very big market is the London long weekend market, and this whole staycation trend is continuing to grow. And staycations is just generally people taking long weekends as well as their annual summer holidays. So if you can get these long weekends, 2 to 3 nights during the down months, you can really increase your occupancy and your cash flow. So Canberra tick the box for London long weekenders. They can be there within 1.5 hours of leaving their desk on a Friday night. Then you've got families wishing to holiday in the UK, you've got the golfers, you've water sports enthusiasts, visitors to the 1066 country and the Rye Town Centre, which is just down the road. And also we've had a lot of film and TV companies using the beach for a location. I don't know if you know Coldplay's video Yellow. That was filmed on Canberra Sands Beach. And also Monuments Men, that truly dreadful film, was also filmed on Canberra Sands Beach. And of course, you know, it is a global marketplace. I have guests from Germany, France, Netherlands, and further afield. So our market is that, and we actually went for a smaller holiday let. Ours is a 2-bed, and I think this is an interesting point because if you do go into larger holiday lets, you tend to get larger groups there, maybe stag and hen nights, and you know, can do a lot more damage, more wear and tear. So we opted to go for smaller holiday lets, 2 beds. So we have have a couple with 2 children, or 2 couples, or 2 single people. So it's quite flexible. And we have 1 double bed in one room, and then we have 2 single beds in the other. But they're zip and link beds, so you can zip them together to make a double. And then you've got the flexibility of how guests want the property configured. So in your marketing, you want to create a purple cow. I don't know if any of you have heard of Seth Godin. He's the American marketeer. I highly recommend him. He does the most amazing blog. And there's my husband Nick, who met him about 10 years ago now. But we love Seth Godin, and when you read his blog, he can literally write the most amazing blog in 1 sentence. Doesn't have to be long. So Seth came up with the idea of a purple cow, and he came up with this concept when he was in France and he was driving through endless fields of black and white cows, and his children were in the car with him and they were going black and white cow, black and white cow, black and white cow, black and white. This went on for ages, and then Seth thought, well, hang on a minute, what happens if there was a purple cow in the field? It would really, really stand out. So with your holiday lets, you want to create something that's really going to stand out in the marketplace. And I've got a few tips of how to do that. Yeah, how do you create a purple cow? Next one. So you want to provide everything for your guests. If you think about it, if the parents are happy, if the kids are happy, the parents are going to be happy, and the parents are going to be able to relax and enjoy their holiday. So things for kids, beach games and whatnot. We supply dressing gowns and hair dryers. We supply luxurious toiletries. I love Molten Brown. Whenever I go into a hotel and I see Molten Brown, I go, oh, Molten Brown. So we have those little luxurious touches. You want to provide hotel quality bed linen, really high thread count, because it's going to go through the wash every week, and if you don't, it will disintegrate, and also it does feel luxurious. And ditto for towels. Quality mattresses. So important that your guests get a good night's sleep in your holiday let. If they don't, they ain't going to come back. So it's an investment worth doing to have quality mattresses. We also supply a welcome pack, which is some milk, some bread, some butter, some elderflower presse, and we also, if a pet's coming, we supply a pet welcome pack of some doggy chews and things like that. We have somewhere to dry wetsuits, we have like a shed outside, we have barbecue and garden furniture, we have a welcome pack which tells the guests how to get the most out of the area. We don't have a hot tub or a wood-burning stove at our holiday let at Camber because it doesn't accommodate one, but hot tubs and wood-burning stoves are two of the most in-demand, most searched for things. Obviously, wood-burning stove for a nice cosy winter holiday, and a hot tub actually can be used year-round. So hot tubs, according to Sykes Cottages, is the #1 thing searched for. So that quite surprises me because I don't like hot tubs, but have to put yourself in the shoes of your guests. I mentioned allowing pets as well, very, very important. Definitely increase your occupancy. And sea or water views really attract a significant premium as well. So I think if you can afford to go for a holiday let with a sea view, I think your occupancy will be greater still. And also, just thinking about niche markets, I've started to hear about vegan holiday lets. And that's quite appealing to me to have something very, very niche, because then it opens up other marketing avenues. And I think anybody that's involved in marketing will probably agree with me that niche is one of the easiest ways if you've got a very niche market, and it's easier to market to a niche market. So other people might like to provide holiday lets that are suitable for people with disabilities or wheelchairs or things like that. So you can always think about providing a very niche, specified product. Thank you. And of course, you 100% need to have super fast broadband. It goes without saying, massively increases your bookings. And obviously, we'll go on to the next slide. You want to appeal to the female, so I have the molten brown toiletries, but you also want to appeal to the male, and people are going to be wanting to use all the things on the internet, like Netflix, gaming, and all that kind of thing. So internet is absolutely paramount. So a few tips for you. Research all the costs up front, because if you think about it, for instance, with the bed linen, you need to have 3 sets of everything. One's going to be on the bed, one's going to be in the airing cupboard, and the other's going to be in the wash. So the costs of that need to be taken into account. You have to supply everything down to the last teaspoon, because they're just going to walk in with their suitcase. They want everything else there for them. Obviously, you want to try and stick to your budget. That's the same for any property project. Very important that you do. And negotiate wherever you can. For instance, the typical management fee for marketing and organising all the bookings for holiday let through an agency is around 20%. I negotiated it down to 16%. So I've had my holiday let since 2008. So imagine how much money that saved me over that period, just a 4% different a month fee to the agent. I always think you can use mid-quality furniture, but then have a few items that kind of elevate the look of the holiday let. You don't want it looking like something from IKEA. We put a few kind of more expensive pieces in. We bought some driftwood lamps, for instance. And also we have used all local artists' artwork for the holiday let. So I'll show you some pictures in a minute, but we've got images of Camber Sands Beach and so on around the property. And we like to support the local community as well and support the local artists by using their artwork. And it gives a kind of more nice tie-in with the area as well. You are going to get breakages and wear and tear, so I recommend using items that can be easily replaced. So maybe just a white set of plates and bowls and things that can be replaced if one gets broken. And as we'll talk in a moment, it's very, very important to actually market and sell the lifestyle that your guests are going to enjoy at their holiday home. And I recommend also to create a brand, particularly if you're going to have more than one holiday let, because you'll find that if people like your product, then they might want to try one of your other holiday lets. And really, really listen to your guests, listen to their feedback and act on that and update it. So you're constantly reviewing and refining your product to make it better. So on completion, bottom line is you want to get your property up and running ASAP, and you want to get your marketing going, and you want to get your first guests booking in. So I schedule everything as close as possible to completion. Obviously you've got to have your furniture installation, you've got to have your pictures put up, you've got to have your blinds fitted, you've got to have your digital TV aerial put in, you've got to have broadband fitted. You want to meet with the marketing and management companies and make sure that the property's staged for all the photographs, and just really get the marketing process going ASAP. Nick and I did all of that pretty much over one weekend, and we had our first booking about 2 weeks later. So it was a very quick turnaround from when we completed on that particular property. And this is really interesting. You want to cater to something that's known as anticipation happiness. And scientists found a few years ago that people are in a higher state of happiness when they're anticipating something than when they're actually doing the thing that they are anticipating, if that makes sense. So you can tap into anticipation happiness by, as I said, telling the guest how they're going to spend their time, all the wonderful things they can do, all the amazing memories that they're going to be able to create at your holiday let. So you can plan out whole days of activities, suggest restaurants, bars, favourite pubs, all the different things in the area, and really create that in your marketing listings, really create that sense of when you get down to Canberra, you're going to be able to do this, you're going to be able to go on the beach and see all this wonderful countryside in the area. Really create that anticipation happiness, and that will really increase your bookings, in my opinion. And marketing, with holiday lets, it's even more important to have very, very high quality photographs. People buy with their eyes. So most people choose a holiday let from the photograph, as well as reading the marketing blurb that comes with it. So it's really, really important that you use the photos to sell the property, the lifestyle, and the local area as well. And we had a very interesting scenario that confirmed this to us. A few years ago, a friend that we kind of lost touch with rang Nick up and said, "Do you know what, I'm in this holiday let at Canberra Sands, and I've looked in the book and it belongs to Vanessa and Nick, and it's your holiday let." And Nick said, "Wow, well, it's great that you're there. Shame you didn't ask us for mates rates, but how did you end up in our holiday let? You had the choice of all the holiday lets in Canberra Sands, and you ended up at our little blue house." And he said something very interesting. He said, "I put holiday let Canberra Sands into Google. Instead of pressing all, I pressed images, and your little blue house jumped out at me." And that explains why I paid 5,000 more for a blue cladded property, because it's so photogenic, and time again, people remark on, this little blue house that they stayed in Canberra Sands. So images, very important. Photogenic property, very important. And choosing which image to lead with in your marketing is also very important. Maybe if you've got a sea view, you might like to lead with the sea view. But it's recommended to change the images, switch them around every so often to refresh your marketing. So I'll just quickly whiz through, as I come to the end here, some pictures. That's our little blue house there. That's the lounge, as you can see, so it's all done out in a seaside-y style. Interestingly enough, this item here is a Teflon-coated settee. You can't spill anything on it, it doesn't stain. We've had wine, Ribena, dog doo-doo, nothing stained. Brilliant. Wasn't that expensive, I think it was £600, something like that, was it, Nick? and it's very good. It's still going strong. That's just a look at the kitchen. It's all open plan there. We've got everything fully fitted out in the kitchen there, all the items they could need to do their own cooking. That's the main bedroom, as I said. It's a double bed. There's some of the artwork I mentioned. It's a local artist that we bought that from. So we put lots of little seaside-y bits and pieces around and give it that lovely holiday home atmosphere. That's just another view. That's the second bedroom, which, as I mentioned, is 2 beds, but they do zip together into a double, so you can configure it in any way you wish. And these are the anticipation happiness photographs. This is what it's like to be there on a sunny day, to sit out on the decking in your back garden with your fire pit in the evening, you know, quaffing your wine, enjoying everything that Canva has to offer. And I think that's the money shot for the marketing, just to see that that's the kind of lifestyle you can have if you book this holiday let. So that's the beach, which is beautiful. So just a final kind of chat about marketing, various avenues that you can look at. One thing you can do is create what I call a marketing matrix, so you can actually plan out everything that's going on in the area throughout the year. Think of special occasions like Valentine's Day, Christmas, etc. You can create marketing around those particular events. If it's Valentine's Day, you could offer, you know, a romantic weekend with wine or chocolates or whatever to be in the property as well for the arrival of the visitors. So just think about all those different things and then work out throughout the year what you're going to do and when with your marketing. You can have your own property website, you can have your own Facebook page, you can do leaflets. I've got some bookings. My mum handed out some leaflets at the school gates and got a couple of bookings from those. You can use social media, obviously. One of the biggest forms of marketing is your referrals and your repeat bookings, and as anybody knows in business, they are the best possible guests you can have because they're just a referral, they didn't cost you anything to acquire them. So you will find that if you have a good product, you will get repeat bookings and people referring your property to their family and friends, which is wonderful. You can also have kind of incentives and special offers, maybe, you know, 10% discount if you book during this downtime. And obviously there's also magazines as well. You might want to choose some specialist magazines. Obviously marketing the property yourself does save on your commissions from your agency and it increases your net cash flow. Maybe you might even like a virtual assistant to do your holiday let marketing for you. There's a thing, isn't it? So to summarise, just got a little pros and cons here. So the pros are enhanced cash flow. Roughly speaking, for what you can achieve for 1 month as a single occupancy buy-to-let, you will achieve for 1 week as a holiday let. So if I rent my Camber Sands property out as a buy-to-let, I would get £8.95 a month for it. When I rent it out as holiday let, I get £9.50 a week. So I think you can see how the potential is there for enhanced cash flow. It's very tax efficient. They're not subject to the dreaded Section 24. You benefit from what I call coastal appreciation, which I explained earlier. Really helps you diversify your portfolio. We often hear about not having all your eggs in one basket, and to hedge against risk, I think having a couple of holiday lets in your portfolio is a great way to diversify it. You've got access to a worldwide marketplace. You can build a client base. If you've got more than one holiday let, you can cross-pollinate between them, so you could leave details of another holiday let in one of with the guests and say, well, you know, we have this one here as well. If you wanted to book this one, we could give you a 10% discount. And of course, you know, you have got a holiday retreat that you can enjoy in the downtimes and you might like to retire to. We've actually bought our retirement home in 2006, I think it is, on the island of Portland in Dorset, and that's been let out as a holiday let, and we will retire there, hopefully in maybe 2 to 3 years. So that's something to look forward to. We've had some nice capital growth there since we bought it as well. The negatives really, the starting up costs are considerably, significantly higher than standard buy-to-let. I've explained why, because you've got to put everything down to the last teaspoon. You've got all your linen, your dressing gowns, you know, your towels. You've got to have multiple sets of those. Obviously, unlike buy-to-let, where you've got a tenant who is hopefully paying on time every month, there's not a guaranteed income from holiday lets on a regular basis. It's dependent on when you get a booking. But obviously the good thing is that if you haven't got any guests, you haven't got any of the many of the costs associated with the holiday let. So I actually like it when I get, you know, bills coming in like cleaning and whatnot, because it means that I've had bookings and the guest has prepaid for it. You will get more wear and tear on the property, people coming in and out, going up the stairs with suitcases, etc. So you need to kind of think about doing a facelift, I would say, every probably 4 to 5 years to maintain the standard of the property. And you are reliant on third parties, and in particular cleaners. Good cleaners are like their weight, you know, worth their weight in gold. They can be quite hard to find. And if you have a good cleaner, do look after them. I pay mine instantly on receipt of their invoice every month. They're so important to your business to have good quality cleaners doing a really top-notch job. And the other negative really is the dreaded British weather. You can't guarantee sunshine, and that's why it's really, really important to have things in the property that people can do if the sun isn't shining, with your games and your books and your internet and all of that good stuff. So you have to think about what guests are going to do if the sun isn't shining, and provide something for that. So that's pretty much it. This is Property Tribes, which I co-founded, as I mentioned, with my husband Nick in 2009. And we called it Property Tribes, really, as I mentioned, because of Seth Godin talking about tribes in respect of how people behave and club together in different tribes. And we have tribes for every different activity within property. So we have a refurbishment and development tribe, we have a buy-to-let tribe, we have a short-term lets and service accommodation tribe, we have a commercial tribe. So people are all curated into these different tribes to talk about that niche topic. And if we could just move along, I just took a quick screenshot from the Holiday Lets tribe, and you can see that, you know, we're talking about many, many different topics about holiday lets, how to optimise them, and how to increase your cash flow. So it's free to join, and you'd be very welcome to join and dive in and take advantage of all the information shared there. Also ask questions or share your knowledge with other people. As we've been saying this evening, it's very valuable to everybody to network and make contacts and share contacts, and I totally subscribe to that as well. And I think what's wonderful about Property Tribes is that everybody goes there really to help other people and help them solve their problems. And I know I'm on there from probably 7 in the morning till about 10 o'clock at night. So I'm so into answering questions and talking to people and learning more, because we can never learn less, can we? So I do invite you to join us at Property Tribes. So that's it really. I hope I've given you some inspiration to think about adding a holiday let to your portfolio. As I said, very big advocate of them. I think the future is very, very bright for them. Sykes Cottages have already said they've had 22% more bookings this year than the previous year, and bookings are definitely up. And bookings, in my experience, are coming in earlier now. So I've had some summer bookings from about November, December last year, which is quite unusual. The main booking period starts round about now, spring holiday half term, when people start thinking about where they're going to go on holiday, and that's when the bookings start to flood in. And also in recent years I've noticed that the main holiday season has extended as well. It used to be kind of June, July, August through to mid-September. I've now found I've got May, June, July, August, September through to mid-October pretty much fully booked. So you can really enjoy some very significant cash flow from a UK holiday let, and I hope everybody here has enjoyed the presentation and that it's inspired you to maybe have a think about getting involved in this area of property investment. Thank you.